Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the Woo Report. The Woo Report. Episode 346. The Morning Woo edition. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios here in beautiful New Jersey in an undisclosed location. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. It's finally over, the 2022-23 NHL season, as the Golden Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights, you heard it here, have beaten the Florida Panthers 4-1. Last night, best of 7 series, winning their 4th game, which is the hardest, Game 5 in Vegas. Lots to talk about this team, as Vegas Golden Knights owner Bill Foley said it would take 6 years for them to become a Stanley Cup champion when they first came in the league in 2017. Lots of credit to go around what the Golden Knights organization has done. They've taken their risks. They kept at it. Coming into the league in 2017, who, by the way, in the beginning, before the team even played its first game, if you remember, David Conte, longtime scout of the New Jersey Devils, was fired in 2015, joining Vegas and putting the team together from the expansion draft on. Spent a couple years with the Vegas Golden Knights before reuniting with Lou Lamoriello with the Islanders. But David Conte gets a lot of credit because a few of the original Golden Knights were still on this Stanley Cup team. And remember, in 2017-2018 season, the Golden Knights made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in its first year. Now, Vegas, if you remember, having to deal with that tragedy early on with the Vegas shooting before the season started. That story, again, it was a horrific event. It was a horrific event where the city went through a really bad period as the team played its first game in Vegas. And then the team going to the Stanley Cup Finals, eventually losing in its first year, but kept at it, making some big moves along the way. Jonathan Marchessault, Conn Smythe winner. And I got to tell you, I think Florida Panthers are kicking themselves right now for literally giving him up to protect another player who's no longer in the league, I believe, from what I read. Marchessault also helping Art Heaton in his fantasy hockey league for his team. Hello to Mark Schwab in the YouTube Live. Cornhole saying that McDavid must be pissed because Eichel won a cup before him. LOL. I mean, it was a team of misfits. I mean, even Phil Kessel said, hey, you all in Toronto said I couldn't even win it, the big one, and now he's got 3 Stanley Cups. Phil Kessel has 3 Stanley Cup victories in his career. That is Marty Brodeur-esque. Hello, Steve Engel. Peter Seifert. What about Aiden Hill? What about what San Jose has given up before trade deadline? Aiden Hill coming up big, coming up strong. His stock has risen since the playoffs began. Not even playing in the first round of the playoffs. But Aiden Hill and Alex Martinez. Yes, Michael. I love Alex Martinez, especially what he did 9 years ago to the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Coming up big again. And you know what's interesting? I mean, these hockey players, the Florida Panthers, let me tell you, when you hear the injury reports after it's all over, Matthew Tkachuk had to be helped out of bed by his brother. What else? Ekblad basically playing on a broken ankle and torn oblique and all sorts of stuff. Players not going to be ready. Florida Panthers players not going to be ready for the start of the season because these injuries just mounted up, the recovery time, how the severity of these injuries. But Aiden Hill showed us one thing. And I'm going to repeat this again and again and again. Aiden Hill was outstanding. But you do not need an $8 million a year goaltender to win the Stanley Cup. And I think the Devils right now are primed because I think I see a lot of Akira Schmid in this. And I'll tell you, I'm so happy for Aiden Hill. I'm so happy for the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm glad that they booed Gary Bettman. Thank goodness. I was worried there because, I think the Seattle Kraken didn't know what to do. Their fans didn't know what to do when Gary Bettman came out, when they were introducing the expansion team. You don't want to ruin that tradition. But it's amazing how Vegas and how the NHL hockey brought professional sports to Vegas. It was the Vegas Golden Knights that started it all. It was the Vegas Golden Knights. The people in Vegas, the marketing of Vegas Born, what you had to do to convince the NHL to bring a franchise to Vegas. This is before sports betting was legal. During a time where other professional sports leagues were hesitant. And it took an owner, the challenges he had to face, trademark issues with the Army, the $500 million that it would take, the initiation fee, the entrance fee, which each owner, I believe, got $15 million out of it, to come into the NHL, but to get the people in Vegas to sell out their season ticket subscriptions before they even had a rink or a team was incredible. So it gives us hope. Dirk says the Cup playoffs didn't end the way I hoped, but entertaining, but glad it's over. Now we can get out to trades, hirings, draft, rumors, and all the off-the-season hockey talk. Yeah. I agree. I'm glad that the NHL lasted longer than the NBA. I don't know why I think that, but I'm glad. Shane Van Sickle says, I love Kessel coming out full gear, only missing a hot dog in hand. Yeah. Bobrovsky, great goaltender, says Mark Schaub, but didn't lose $10 million for it. But again, you don't need an $8 to $10 million a year goaltender. And that's the point I want to make. I mean, this was a great playoff run. I mean, it was exciting. I was engaged the entire time. Florida Panthers have a lot to be proud of, but they're pretty banged up. And once you hear those injury reports, you're like, wow. And I remember sarcastically saying last night, yeah, Tkachuk should be playing. Obviously, it was bad, but wow. And you know what? The New Jersey Devils, they've got some big decisions to be made. Contracts to be signed. What will Tom Fitzgerald do? In Fitzy we trust. But I think right now, the Vegas Golden Knights are going to celebrate. Also, big shout out to a good friend of the podcast, winning his first Stanley Cup ever in his career, Sean Burke. Sean Burke came on as the director of goaltending, I think that's the title, for the Vegas Golden Knight last offseason. Finally winning his Stanley Cup. Going to reach out to him, congratulate him a little bit later. Good friend of the podcast, Sean Burke. Congratulations to him. He's one of our own, is what I say. Frank. Hello, Frank. Frank in the YouTube Live. Hello. Looking at the Facebook Live as well, here on the Morning Woo. Hello to Facebook Live, as the Golden Knights are now the Stanley Cup champions. It's got to suck for organizations that have been around for a while that haven't won at all. But what Vegas had to do right from the get-go, I mean, to get a team in Vegas was hard. Now you got copycats. You've got the Raiders moving from California to from Oakland to Vegas. Now soon to be Oakland Athletics as well. And will there be a basketball team? I know the D League of the NBA, I believe started in Vegas. But wow. Lots of stuff happening. We're going to have State of the Fan address tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Shane Van Sickle says Vancouver is really due. I actually feel bad. 50 years. I don't feel bad at all. Just fork over Quinn. And Selected Boy says the A's are actually staying in Oakland, Sam. LOL. Actually, I haven't been really following. I've just been reading some stuff that the $400 million or whatever stadium is approved. I don't know. Anyway. I'll have to research that. Anyway. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm a little outdated in my baseball. Anyway, thanks, Art Nunez, saying, hope Nevada legislator does not give money to the A's for stadium. Better off with an expansion team. You never know. All righty. Well, the offseason has started. And 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the State of the Fan address. Nick Villano and I, pucksandpitchforks.com. We'll be on air. Go to pucksandpitchforks.com. Also, June 28th, hang out with us. NHL draft party. We're going to have a draft party, what we do every year. at Pasta Grill by Enzo's in beautiful Hackettstown, New Jersey, in the heart of Warren County, near the Mansfield section, off of Route 57. Hang out with us, 7 p.m. Eastern, on June 28th in Warren County in Hackettstown. Pasta Grill by Enzo's. We're going to be hanging out. Hang out with us. Even though the Devils don't have a draft pick yet, we're still having a draft party. Doesn't matter. It's all about hanging out. Just remember. Thank you, Peter. It's glad to hear the morning woo. That's right. We'll be back in action tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, with Nick Villano and I at pucksandpitchforks.com. Nick Villano will be exhausted. His commute to work has been diverted with the I-95 mess, bridge collapse. We'll talk a little bit with that, Nick, later. Also, again, congratulations to the good friend of the podcast, Sean Burke, for winning the Stanley Cup, being part of that goaltending, the solution to the goaltending of the Vegas Golden Knights. Wow. Thank you all. This is the Morning Woo on the Woo Report. Till next time, let's go Devils.